Giovanni Battista Viotti was born on May 12, 1755, at Forneto Po, Kingdom of Sardinia, which today is in the province of Vercelli in Piedmont, Italy. Viotti was an Italian violinist and composer. He was also a director of French and Italian opera companies in Paris, France, and then in London, England. Early on in life, he showed talent. He was taken to the Principe Alfonso del Puzzo della Cisterna, Turin. There, he received a musical education and became a pupil of Gaetano Pugnani. In Turin, he served at the Savoy court from 1773 to 1780. He then went on tour, first with his teacher Pugnani, to Switzerland, Germany, Warsaw, and St. Petersburg. He then went to Paris on his own, making his debut at the Concert Spirituel on the 17th of March, 1782. He was immediately successful. He served at Versailles, the court of Marie Antoinette, and then founded his own opera house, Theatre de Monsieur, in 1788, with Monsieur Louis Stanislas Xavier Comte de Provence, the brother of the king, as his patron. When the French Revolution happening at this time turned radical, he renamed his opera house the Theatre Feydeau. Even taking that precaution, those connected with the royalty were under threat. He moved to London in 1792 and made his debut at Johann Peter Salomon's Hanover Square concert on February 7th, 1793. He became more and more successful in London. From 1793 to 1794, he toured as a featured violinist for Salomon's concert series. In 1795, he was the musical director of the New Opera Concerts. From 1794 to 1795, he was a star in the benefit concerts for Haydn and as acting manager of Italian opera at the King's Theatre. In 1797, he was the leader and director of an orchestra. He performed for London aristocracy, including the Prince of Wales. When Britain went to war with France during its revolution, Viotti was ordered to leave England because he was suspected to have been in alliance with the Jacobins in the French Revolution, those left-wing persons who called for a republic, even though Princess Elizabeth and many gentlemen spoke in his favor. The documents about this might not have been talking about Viotti at all. He left England March 8, 1798. He lived on the estate of John Smith, a wealthy English merchant, which is in Shenfield, Edinburgh, near Hamburg, from circa 1798 to circa July 1799. He gave private lessons to virtuoso Friedrich Wilhelm Pixis, who was a 13-year-old at the time, between March and May 1798. Viotti then lived in disguise at the estate of William and Margaret Chinnery, English friends of his, in 1801. According to another document, he was still living in Shenfield in April 1800. From 1801 to 1818, he then lived in London, but not very much so in the music world. He stopped performing to run a wine business, but still played in private concerts. He became a naturalized British citizen in July 1811, thanks to the intercession of his friend, the Duke of Cambridge, brother of the king. He became a founder of the Philharmonic Society of London in 1813. He did not solo anymore, but was an orchestra leader and chamber musician. His wine business failed. He then returned to Paris to work as the director of the Académie Royale de Musique. He was there from 1819 to 1821. In November 1823, he went back to London due to a lack of monetary success, due to music and/or his wine venture with Margaret Chinnery. He died on March 3, 1824, in her presence. Mr. Viotti had few direct students. However, he was very influential as a violinist. He taught Pierre Rodet and Pierre Baillot. He has also had an important influence on Rudolphe Kreutzer. All were teachers themselves. Viotti is considered the founding father of the 19th century French violin school, even the founder of the modern violin school, in that he influenced so many in his teaching. He also taught August Duranowski, who influenced Niccolò Paganini. Paganini also played some of Viotti's work during his career. Among Viotti's other pupils include Alde, Vacher, and Labarne. Antonio Stradivari fabricated a violin belonging to Viotti in 1709. It eventually became known as the Viotti Stradivarius. Viotti is also thought to have commissioned himself at least one replica of this violin. The violin, renamed the Viotti X Bruce in honor of its past owner, still is in existence today. It was bought by the Royal Academy of Music in September of 2005. Viotti wrote 29 violin concertos. These had a strong influence on the genius Ludwig van Beethoven. Number 22 of Viotti's violin concertos is still played today, especially by high-level students. The others are not heard as much, though in 2005, Franco Mezzena, violinist, included some of these concertos in his Dynamic Italy label. Viotti's works mostly feature the violin. In his string quartets, Viotti has the first violin as a kind of solo, with the rest of the parts as accompaniment in contrast to Haydn's more equal part style. However, in Viotti's Tre Concerti Concertini G112, 113, and 114, named after Remo Giesotto, who catalogued his work, which Viotti composed in 1815 and were published in Paris in 1817, feature all parts with solos. Viotti also wrote more chamber music with more traditional instrumentation, such as 2 violins and a cello. His opuses 18 and 19 are best known of these, and are still printed today. He additionally wrote sonatas, songs, etc. Giovanni Battista Viotti is still remembered today. The Viotti International Music Competition takes place annually in Vercelli, Italy, near the place of his birth. Also in Vercelli is the International Viotti Music Festival, which is in the circuit Piemonte dal Vivo, Italy.